Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Kristen and this is Growing Zone 9B. So today it is raining outside. You can probably hear it on the roof. And that's one of the nice things, is that you can actually hear the raindrops and the rain coming down. It's so nice out. I've turned the porch lights on out here. It just gives such a nice vibe. The air is pretty thick. It's still pretty humid and warm, but nonetheless, it is beautiful outside. So today, since it is raining, we're gonna go over something that I think is really important that maybe some people don't actually know about, or they only know bits and pieces about. And that is the EWG's Shoppers Guide to Pesticides in Produce. So I went ahead and I just printed this out. I know that makes that super old school. I could have just read it from my iPad, but I kind of like having this and just having an updated list on the items that have heavy pesticides in it. And so that's why it's important in the areas that we can grow in, and you know, or if you can purchase organically or from someone that you know is growing. I think that's really key to keeping yourself out of risk of getting too many heavy pesticides in produce, because some people don't really understand or think that it's a waste of money to invest in products that are high or that are organic, because they feel like that's a high cost to pay. But I always feel like you either pay for it now or you'll end up paying for it later. So usually it's like the dirty dozen, that's, you know, the top 12 that are terrible. But technically there are 46 items that are actually on this list, and so it goes deeper than just the top 12. So the first item on the list, which can be grown here in Zone 9B, and that is strawberries. So strawberries, out in Plant City, they have the Strawberry Festival. So strawberries are definitely something that can be grown here fairly easily. For me, I usually don't grow them, and I'll tell you why. I just buy them organically. But it's good to know that I could grow them if I needed to. I do have a friend, she's been growing some, and she's been growing them in hay bales. And so that's kind of a unique process. But we have so many birds that just come and eat them, or you kind of have to keep an eye on them, because to me, if you're not growing them in like a green stalk or something, it makes it a little more difficult to grow. Maybe this next year I may attempt to try to grow them in the green stalk. I'll see how that goes. I don't really eat a lot of strawberries. My mom actually has an allergy to strawberries. So strawberries isn't something that personally I keep at the top of the list. I like to have them every now and then, but it's not like a big priority for me. So the next one on the list is spinach. Now, I personally don't like spinach too much. I am not a big spinach fan. I would rather eat arugula or a different green than spinach. Now, my fiance, he loves spinach. My parents eat spinach. The boys eat spinach. So spinach is good. Here in Florida, it gets super hot. So one of the spinaches that you can grow is going to be a Malabar spinach. That really tolerates the heat very well. I do love the regular, just like spinach that you can buy that has, you know, when you grow it here, I think there's one that's called like bull's spinach or something like that, and it's got this huge leaf to it. But regardless, those spinaches do more, they do better during the fall. So keep that in mind, that if you're going to try to grow spinach here that's not a Malabar spinach, then you may want, or a Brazilian spinach. Now, I do like the Brazilian spinach because it's a smaller leaf. I have shown you guys pictures of the Brazilian spinach. It does have a smaller leaf, or the seiso spinach is what it's called, or there's Okinawa spinach. Now, Okinawa spinach and Brazilian spinach grow like weeds here, and that's why I do grow them. I can literally just cut them off at the base and just stick them in the ground anywhere, and they grow all over the place. So if you're looking to grow something, my top 3 spinaches here in Florida, just because of our climate and weather in Zone 9B, are going to be the Malabar spinach, the Brazilian spinach, or the Okinawa spinach. So easy to get your hands on. Sometimes you can find it, I would probably say Etsy probably carries quite a bit. And I like to share with my friends and family just because I've purchased it, and it just literally, the Brazilian spinach just cut, drop in the ground, and it will literally grow pretty much anywhere here. I've literally just stuck it out in the yard, and there's just been bunches of it that just starts popping up. On the other side of this tree over here, one of the big tree that kind of circles my garden area, I accidentally dropped some, and it just started growing around in a circle. So it makes actually a really nice border if you ever just want to use it as a border, and then people would have no idea that you have spinach growing. All right, number 3 on the list, it says kale, collards, and mustard greens. Well, these are all really easy to grow here in our zone. The best time to grow them is going to be in the fall, because that's when you're really going to get that sweet taste to them, and so that's usually when I grow them. Now, I love growing dinosaur kale. That's one of my favorites. I like a broadleaf mustard green. They make a red mustard green. I have plenty of those. We'll be growing them as we move forward in the future. A lot of the videos that I have shot already, not a lot, but some of the videos that I've shot already, you can see big patches of mustard greens. I think the important piece to mustard greens is that they help to suppress nematodes. And here in our sandy soil, it's very difficult for the retention of good nutrients. And so without using something like wood ash or something like that, kind of mixing it into the soil. And so I kind of recommend just growing that. I will grow in some of my beds a ton of that and then just turn it back under, so that way, y'all saw that in my carrot video. I turned all that back under because it's really good to just suppress those nematodes. So keep that in mind. Plus, you can make that pesto mustard green, and that's really good. All right, number 4 is grapes. So right now we actually have grapes growing. I have already shown you guys a video on that, so go back and check out some of my videos on the grapes. But if not, the grapes that I have growing right now that are right over here are the muscadine grapes. Those are pretty easy to grow for me. I don't have any issues growing them. I would say probably like your Concord and some of your other grapes are a little more difficult. When you intermix it in, like I intermixed the grape plant into the passion fruit, and I find that that actually does best because it deters those leaf eating like army worms from actually getting into my area, because they don't really eat the passion fruit leaves. Thank the Lord that's not something that they've actually gotten a hold of. So, but passion fruit leaves are medicinal, so, and you can eat the grape leaves. It's not just about the grapes, so keep that in mind. All right, number 5 is peaches. So I did shoot a video where my neighbors are growing peaches. That is something, and if the poles ever shifted, you know, if we ever had a climate change and the poles shifted, peaches would be something that we could grow. So if it didn't, you know, obviously we didn't drown from all the water change, we would be able to grow peaches, because peaches usually require a chill hour of about 300 to 400 hours. So just do your research as far as peaches goes to find one that's going to work best for you. All right, the next one, number 6 on the list, is pears. Now I do know that my grandfather, he did try to grow some pears. I don't know that he was actually as successful as he would like to be here in Florida. Can it be done? Yes. I think they require a lot of nutrients, and the pear tree that he had a lot of thorns on it. I don't know much about pears because I haven't really been interested in growing pears, so I don't know if thorns are standard or if that was just the type of tree that he purchased. All right, number 7 is nectarines. I personally like nectarines because peaches are a little fuzzy. I don't mind it. It's just not what I prefer. But I do like nectarines. I have not seen anyone growing nectarines around here. That doesn't mean that they can't be done, but just food for thought. Do your research if that's something that you're going to invest in. I'm pretty sure that I think that they probably grow in California, so it might be something that we could grow here, but I'll have to look further into the nectarine situation. Now, apples is number 8. We like to eat a lot of apples around here, so I did know that Tractor Supply was, they did have some apple trees, but they weren't selling it directly in my area, and we had to take a drive to go get them. And so we just never did it. We were caught up in some other projects. But this year I am going to keep my eyes open. One of the best apples or apple trees to purchase here for our area is going to be probably an Anna apple. They have a lower chill hour time frame, and that's what you're looking for us, because we never know if we're just going to have like a lukewarm type winter, or you know, where it doesn't really get cold for very long, and that's what those apple trees need in order to produce. Now, I don't think an Anna apple requires a cross-pollination, but I would have to do further research on that. So I definitely know for sure that that is one of the investments that I will be making in the future if I can get my hands on an Anna apple. So that's definitely one for me, because we love apples. All right, number 9 is bell and hot peppers. Well, I can tell you I think it's called a Chinese, I want to say like 5 pepper or something like that. It looks like an ornamental. I'll have to see if I can get the package. We'll shoot a video maybe on it about peppers. But I'm not really a big fan on hot peppers. I do have some banana peppers that are growing. My mom grows the little mini bell peppers. The kids love those. But I will tell you this, that array of colors, it's so beautiful. But I love the purple and the green. I ordered those from Baker's Creek. So just go look at your hot peppers and look online at Baker's Creek, and you will be able to find those peppers. If not, I'll go back and look in the notes of this video, and I will see if I can add that for you guys, the ones that we bought. So if you like hot peppers, that would be the one to grow here, just because they did super well. And the other pepper that does really well is the lemon drop pepper. Now that is a spicier pepper, so that's up to you on if that's something you're interested in. I'm just personally not a big fan of hot peppers, so we don't really grow them. All right, number 10 is cherries. We don't really grow cherries here. There is, I think, a Brazilian cherry that can grow here. It's not the same as your Rainier cherry, or you know, one of the cherries that you kind of see at the grocery store. I think the cherry that I'm talking about comes from the Bahamas or one of the tropical locations. I don't have one of those here. I did purchase one, this was maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, and it ended up dying, so it never survived. So I haven't really invested more time into cherries, because I really like plants that grow very, fairly easy, because, working a lot, I don't have time to just sit there and baby a plant. If this was my full-time job, then absolutely we would invest in that, but I don't have that right now. All right, number 11 is blueberries. There are blueberry farms located in Dade City, Florida, and you can kind of find them throughout the state of Florida the more northern you go, in skirting kind of like the coastal regions. They seem to do fairly well in those areas. I personally don't have any. My uncle, when he lived here, he was a citrus grower, but he had a ton of blueberries. They do fairly well, for whatever reason, in the acidic soil. So it's not going to be like the blueberries that you get up north that are nice, small, super sweet, and delicious. It just kind of depends on the variety that you select, and I don't have a specific variety off the top of my head. I do not grow blueberries. We did attempt to grow some blueberries, and I didn't take care of them as well as I should have. And I had actually gotten them from my uncle, and so they were kind of delayed in our planting. There was a whole lot of reasons why they weren't as successful as they could have been. I would probably in the future maybe go back to investing in blueberries, but at this time it's just not an adventure that I am choosing to take. But keep in mind that you can do it. So I would say in zones, like I would basically say probably, just look it up. Just look up in your region and see if they would grow. I would definitely say like the Jacksonville area, you're going to be able to grow blueberries fairly well, because the good thing that you want is that you're going to have more chill hours. So the more north you go, the more likely you are to get those blueberries to produce and do fairly well. So keep that in mind. All right, number 12 is green beans. Well, pretty much anywhere in So 9B, you're going to be able to grow green beans at some given point. We do really well on like black-eyed peas and Creole Crowder peas. So that's kind of like a different, they're a pea, but they are kind of in the legume family. So keep that in mind. But green beans, you pretty much can grow here. So if you can grow it, grow it. I would recommend the bush beans, just because that you can get more on the bush instead of a vining bean. Because if you have to have a vining bean like Kentucky, I think it's called Kentucky Lake or something like that, or Blue Lake or something to that effect, you're gonna need a trellis for that to grow up. So you definitely want a variety that's gonna be a bush. So just keep that in mind, in my opinion. Number 13 is tomatoes. As you guys know, over in Ruskin, that is like the tomato capital of Florida. Like, you can get tomatoes to grow like crazy there. So I obviously can get tomatoes to grow fairly well here. Like I said, you guys have seen me pull in buckets of tomatoes. My personal favorite tomato is gonna be the Sweet 100s. I purchased mine from Johnny's Seeds. But you can get other varieties. I find that most people that I share my tomatoes with are like, man, these are sweet, these are delicious. I did grow some money makers and some other tomatoes. They just didn't do as well as my Sweet 100s. I just was pulling in the Sweet 100s like crazy, and I could make salsa with that. So I really like those. All right, then we have winter squash is number 14. So now winter squash, one of my favorites, it's more in the pumpkin family, but I kind of utilize it like a squash. So I would definitely say the Seminole pumpkin kind of to me is in that type of, for me personally, I feel like it's in that type of family. So if you want to grow something like a pumpkin or a winter type squash or a gourd, that is going to be the one that I would personally say to do here in Florida is the Seminole pumpkin, because that's just going to do really, really well. All right, number 15 is cherry tomatoes. Well, I kind of threw that into the regular number 13, which was just tomatoes. So obviously cherries, you're gonna go back to me personally, I'm gonna select the Sweet 100s. All right, number 16 is celery. All right, so I don't grow celery, but I do know there are quite a few people that grow celery over in the St. Pete area. And so they grow an Asian celery. If you go to Asian Garden 2 Table, and it's the number 2, they have a YouTube channel, and they actually sell seeds. I have purchased seeds from them before, and they actually do celery. So, and I believe that it is an Asian-based celery. So go over there, check them out, check their seeds out. They do have a website and a web page for that. We are not associated. I've never met those people. I have seen their channel, and I have purchased seeds from them. So, you know, just keep that in mind. All right, number 17 is lettuce. So to me, I am definitely down with an Asian blend of lettuce, because I will tell you why. You can go to Seed Saver Exchange, and they have literally a blend that you can buy, and it is an Asian blend. And that blend does very well here. I had that in one of my Vigo grow beds, and it just did excellent. So to me, I like the more Asian flavor, so I'm gonna select that. Now I have definitely grown romaine. I've also grown Casey lettuce, which you can get at Johnny's Seeds. But remember, they do best here in the more fall time frames, but not to where it's super freezing. There are lettuces, you'd have to do your research, that will tolerate the cold and frost better than others, because you know they'll get like frostbite and bit back, and you just don't, you know, you don't want to see that. All right, number 18 is tangerines. So we are like California in that regard. We have a lot of citrus that comes out of the state of Florida. My uncle was a citrus grower, so citrus can be somewhat a little bit easier to grow here. The only thing that we have to keep in mind is that it's called greening, and so you don't want your citrus to get greening, and you know, you want to keep the flies off of your plants, because it can cause, you know, other issues. I prefer personally to grow key limes, because key limes do really well here. They tolerate the heat. I have Mexican key limes. We did get them in Key West, and they do really great. They tolerate the sandy soil. You don't really have to do a lot of amendments or treatment to it, because with the oranges or tangerines, you're going to want to keep a fungicide on them. And so you might want to check out Haas Tools. They carry those types of products, and or, you know, work with your agricultural extension in order to get that information. All right, number 19 is cucumbers. Y'all know that I struggle with cucumbers, so I have tried every cucumber in the book. I just struggle with them personally. This year, one of my friends, Carrie, who also grows, she was not able to get her cucumbers to come up. Since they did fairly well last year, she got a couple off of them, but this year has been a struggle. So my parents were also not able to grow cucumbers for whatever reason. They just got attacked by the bugs. And I think when you're trying to grow naturally, that's definitely one of the things that you're gonna face. So you know, I guess if you're doing, you know, hydroponics or something like that, you might indoors, you're gonna definitely, or a controlled environment, you're gonna have more success. Or like my friend Millie, who's growing on her porch area that's all screened in, she's definitely gonna have success with cucumbers. Now she may not need to hand pollinate, so that way they get pollinated to actually grow, because she's not getting those bugs and stuff coming in. But outside of that, you can grow it. It's just might take a little bit more effort because of the types of bugs and stuff that we have here. All right, number 20, summer squash. Well, summer squash is usually a yellow squash, or I would say like something like a zucchini. You all know that we can grow those here, but you've got to be very vigilant about looking at those squash, protecting them, because what will end up happening, as you guys know, the bugs, as soon as they get it, they see it, they are on it. So it is rare that we get a long-term squash harvest here in the location that I am, because they just get zapped if you're not going to put some type of treatment or pesticide on them. That's been my experience anyway. All right, so number 21 is broccoli. Broccoli can definitely grow here, so you just need to select the broccoli that you like. That's also going to be in the Brassica family, and so that is going to be something that we're going to grow here in for sure, our winter months. So you're looking, for me personally, I'm definitely going to be growing that more towards October, November, December, January, those types of months, because I know that's when it's going to produce well. It enjoys the cool, cold weather, or cooler weather. We don't really get too cold down here. So that's when you'd want to grow that. Number 22 is potatoes. We do love potatoes. We get big bags of potatoes at Costco. So, all right, number 23 is plums. Now you can definitely grow varieties of plums down here. Number 24 is eggplant. Eggplant absolutely does grow here. Again, for me personally, I have seen the best results for eggplants closer to January, February, and March, because they do like it a little bit cooler, but they don't like it to be so hot to where you feel like temperatures like, you know, 100, 105 degrees. The plants aren't loving that. Number 25 is raspberries. So don't forget that one of the best raspberries, or blackberries, or that type of family, is going to be for us, is going to be the Freedom blackberries. So those do really well. They're similar to a raspberry. You can grow raspberries here. I have purchased raspberries before. I've purchased the white raspberries, the white caps, but they weren't as successful for me. So because it gets so very hot here, and they really like that swampy area. So if you're living in a more swampier type environment where they're going to get some moisture, they're going to get that, you know, humidity, and the deer don't get to them, then that would probably be my recommendation. Number 26 is grapefruit. Well, that's in the citrus family. My uncle was a citrus grower. You can clearly grow grapefruit. You're just going to need to keep your eyes out for citrus greening. 27 is snap peas. So snap peas, if you're going to grow them here, you need to really grow them in the very cool months. So to me, if I'm planting snap peas, which I have done in the past, I actually plant them in December, which I know some people don't. But don't forget that if you have confusion about when you would like to be growing things, or your zone, I have already shot a video on Clyde's chart, You can purchase that chart from Baker's Creek, and that is something just to think about, so that way I'm just mentioning these vegetables to you and fruits. You need to do your own due diligence and research to figure out what's going to grow in your zone and what grows best. So that is number 27. 28 is oranges. We've kind of already gone over that. 29 is cantaloupe. 30 is bananas, which y'all know we can definitely grow some bananas here. We have a lot of wetlands. My pick right now is going to be the Cavendish dwarf banana, because I can keep more control over it. I definitely have some bananas over here on the back side that we don't really go over and focus on too much. I've also got bananas down by the lake. I have a neighbor that grows bananas right over at the edge of the lake, and my brother grows a ton of bananas, which I am blessed because he has been supplying me with bananas for a while now, because my bananas don't put on like his bananas. His bananas are absolutely amazing, and I took some of his pups, and that's what I have planted down by the lake, and I have one up over here by the house. And so that's something that we are, you know, I definitely would like to start growing more of, because we go through a thing of bananas at least once a week, and I like to add them in my smoothies, and I feel like they are really healing. They have good potassium, and here in Florida you sweat a lot, so you definitely need the potassium. All right, number 31 is cauliflower. So cauliflower, again, is something that we can definitely grow here. It grows around the same time that broccoli is going to be growing. So go ahead and get you one of those Clyde's charts from Baker's Creek, and you will be able to determine on when is the best time to grow these vegetables that I'm talking about. Now don't forget, you can go to EWG's 2024 list, and you can see what those pesticides and produce lists are. You can print that out and keep it for yourself, and when you're making your grocery list, then you will know what you should and should not purchase. So you always want to avoid those pesticides as much as possible. Obviously buy organic when you can, and just keep all that in mind. Anything that you can grow here, if you've got the space for it, then by all means do it. So what a blessing it is to be able to have this opportunity to be able to discuss this with you guys, so that way we are all doing our due diligence to stay healthy and well and protect ourselves from the negative pesticides of the world. Right. So that was your list for today. Until next time, love one another, be kind, and I will see you guys in my next video.